Hey guys, Strong Style Studios back again. It's Alex.
Justin the Orange Dream.
And your boy Noah.
And we're here today with another episode of Running the Ropes. The last Running the Ropes till WrestleMania weekend. And we got a lot to talk about. This is going to be a long episode. We have WWE stuff to talk about, TNA, ROH, Extreme Rising for the first time ever, and we have the Kobashi retirement match to talk about. Mm-hmm. But first, on a very solemn note, we have to talk about the tragic passing of Reid Flair last weekend. I believe Friday it was, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes. Now, I never watched any Reid Flair matches, but I heard a great number of praises from him, from fans, from wrestlers. And 24 years old, very, very tragic to see a guy that young and that talented pass away. And our thoughts and condolences are with Ric Flair and his family at this time.
Mm-hmm. I was just going to say, he just replaced his dad in a match over in Japan, and that was supposedly a big breakout match for him. His dad was there watching. It was a big moment. There's pictures of it online, and it was that was kind of the match where people said this guy could be really good. And that was just a few weeks ago, I believe. So it's very soon after that. And he just had his first singles match in Japan not too long ago. So he was just getting his career really going over in Japan. And this strikes. And it's just another in a series of misfortunes for Rick and his family. And this is obviously the worst thing to happen yet. It's just a terrible thing to see. I don't know how they're going to go through all this, but...
Yeah, and it couldn't have come at a worse time. I mean, him and his dad were going to appear at a local, I think, North Carolina show that weekend, and just that's horrible. And
one thing I also want to say, people are saying this guy's got a lot of potential because not only is he, obviously pretty good, he's a lot different than his dad. He was an amateur background, but he's a much different style wrestler than his dad. He doesn't look like his dad. So people thought this guy would have an easier time breaking out than a lot of guys who were sons of, legends and such. And I heard, I don't know if I should bring this up, but I heard a dispute whether he was 25 or 24, because he just had a birthday. He might be 25.
Okay.
So I think his birthday was in February.
Could be wrong. Anything to add?
Either way, I mean,
that's way too young to be dying.
That's crazy.
That's right around our age. So
yeah, I'm not younger than me, man. That's crazy. Or older than me.
Slightly older.
Yeah,
it's terrible because the wrestling family
can't take another loss.
I mean. It's crazy. It feels like every couple of months we hear about somebody dying. You can't name another profession where someone just dies every few months. And especially someone that's my age.
Right. I was just about to say that. Yeah.
If I were to just keel over tomorrow, people would be like, "What's going on?"
Yeah.
It's
mid-40s even is just terrible. That's. Even if you're wrestling in your mid-40s, people are always like, he was way... Even we were talking about Paul Bear being too young at his age.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's true, but it's mid-20s.
But there's something... It speaks to the business. There's something wrong. There's something going on in the business. There's a mentality about the business, about... I don't know if it's the rock star lifestyle, if it's the being on the road, but... Also, there's something that needs to change, because this cannot keep going on. This cannot continue.
Yeah,
right. I mean, we can't keep losing guys. And I'll be honest, like you guys, I haven't seen any of his matches. Honestly, the most I ever saw him was at Ric Flair's Hall of Fame induction, and it's unbelievable. Yeah. This guy died before I ever got to see him wrestle.
Yeah. But from all accounts, we were about to see him wrestle because he was going to be there pretty soon.
And you hear about, the drugs, and it was probably drug induced. It might have been. I don't want to speculate, but even still,
not natural causes. We know that for sure.
The thing about wrestling, you can't just blame he's a drug addict, because it's such a big deal in the wrestling business, and it's so sad, because you see guys like Scott Hall getting clean after so many years, and then you think, okay, maybe the younger guys. They're all right.
Look at his example.
Yeah. But they're not.
Don't be like...
They're really not. Yeah. And it's not just Reid Flair, All over the business.
Reid Flair is, a lot of guys play with fire and get kind of lucky and continue on to make it to middle age. Some guys don't get so lucky. Yeah. I'm sorry to cut you off. I just want to say before I forget that I'm hoping changes positive changes like eliminating the chair shots and things like that, eliminating the toll. I don't know if the toll on his body had anything to do with it, but I'm just saying everything like that would be a positive influence in helping prolong the lifespan of wrestlers.
And And this is another reason I feel like people should go out of their way and watch Nigel McGuinness's DVD, his documentary, because this can't keep happening. Like, the business itself is getting smaller and smaller, and if the guys keep dying, and it's just going to go away.
You don't need all that, really.
Yeah, man.
No, you don't.
It's okay on occasion, but you don't need it. Some guys feel like they have to do it all the time. It's just... Anyway, rest in peace, Reid. We are
absolutely.
Wrestling world devastated for the Flair family's loss.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't imagine. Thoughts and prayers with the Flairs. You know.
Can't imagine what he's going through right now, man. Like this Ric Flair. This is probably like the biggest time of year for him. Is like WrestleMania weekend. Obviously Flair. Going to be a part of WrestleMania weekend in some way or form. And like he probably now doesn't want to be bothered right now, and like I don't blame him at all.
No.
All right, let's try to change gears to something a little bit more positive. We had a Monday Night Raw not too long ago. The last Monday Night Raw before WrestleMania, and it was pretty average as far as the WrestleMania Go Home show was. Nothing really special to talk about. Rock and Cena both cut pretty generic promos. I mean, Cena started the show out with a promo that just... He just kept kissing The Rock's ass about how great The Rock is. You want to know what I loved about last year's feud with them two?
The animosity?
It felt like they really didn't like each other. You get the feeling like, these people just didn't like each other. Like they're two different guys. And so like when they're finally in the ring, it's like, yeah, this is going to be good. This year it's like, it should be bigger. Cena should be like, Rock, you cost me so much in my life, blah, 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 in my career.
He went into that previously, but he didn't go into that at all here.
WWE is afraid about Cena even being slightly heelish, even when he has a reason.
That's what bugs me.
Yeah. I'm not saying Cena needs to turn heel, absolutely, because it's probably never going to happen.
It's just having an edge, really.
Yeah. Just, being a little bit more aggressive, like Cena or Rock, you cost me a lot in my career. This year, WrestleMania, I'm gonna beat you and put you through that. And, be a little aggressive.
And they went for that a little bit previously, and they've shy away from it. This promo, I liked it until it went on too long, like you said.
Yeah.
It was good at the beginning, and I was kind of digging it, but then once it went on for like 12 minutes, it was kind of like, at the end, it was just kind of you run out of material, and it was just like...
I'll be honest
lost the mood.
I hated it. I hated this promo. I thought it was another... John Cena comes out, recaps what's happened in the WWE for the last 2 weeks.
Right.
He meanders on forever until the crowd starts chanting boring.
Yeah.
And the worst part is that he thinks that this is a good time to stop talking and let that be aired.
Yeah.
That is boring chants that is not a good thing to have on air.
I have not heard a Cena boring chant in a while. Like for a promo, it's like he's been in some bad storylines and bad promos, but like I've not heard a boring chant for a Cena promo in a long time.
This was a disaster. I thought it was terrible. Honestly, I felt this whole storyline that Cena just can't match up with The Rock because he's not being real. He's not going out and saying, you did this, the fans say this, I disagree, I'm this, I'm the man. No, he just goes out there and says, you beat me last year, I'm upset, I've had a bad year.
Right, and they didn't
talk about the Why should I care?
They didn't talk about the title hardly at all.
The title doesn't matter at all.
No, it doesn't. Also, like, you have so much ammunition this year. I mean, like, bring up the fact that Rock is the WWE champion and, hey, Rock, where are you with the house shows? Where are you for Monday Night Raw every week? They don't bring it up because WWE doesn't want to bring it up. This, if you want Cena to go in there and be the face and get cheered when he wins, you got to make The Rock look like an asshole, kind of. Like, Rock, you're off, promoting your movie. I'm here every week wrestling. We're, be real. Be realistic.
But the thing is, even if they want Cena to be the heel, he can still say those things.
Yeah.
Because The Rock is going to get cheered either way.
Yeah, true.
But the thing is, if Cena's out there saying, you know what, half this audience might hate me, but I'm here.
Yeah.
At least somebody's going to respect it. But now, if you're going to go out there and say, oh, The Rock, you're a great performer, I'll give you that. But I'm going to beat you. Yeah. Nobody's going to respect that.
I'm a wrestler. He did that He did one promo last year. Remember the promo he did last year we said was really, really good? It was the promo where he's like, I'm here every day. You're a movie star. You're going off in Hollywood. They touched on it a little bit. And yes, they did that one promo last year, but they never fleshed that out. And they could totally use that as a basis of this feud.
Yeah.
I think it's... Yeah. This match has been built up terribly.
Yeah.
And the thing is, nobody wanted to see it to begin with, and now they've done nothing to make that.
They did overcompensate to make people really interested, and they had it.
What else is there to talk about from Monday Night Raw? How about
a lot?
Well, we'll get to that.
Before we get to that, yeah.
How about Wade Barrett versus The Miz is going to be a pre-show? Let me ask you. Yeah, that's fine. But here's the thing. Let's see. Miz and Barrett on pre-show. Fandango, Bella Twins.
I know exactly what you're going to
say. Funkadactyls. all on WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. Where the fuck is Cesaro?
Nowhere to be seen.
In my dreams.
One of the longest reigning United States champion in history, who went out on Monday Night Raw and had a pretty good match with Jericho, I thought.
Very good.
Yeah, the match on Raw.
The match that everyone wanted to see at WrestleMania, by the way.
Mm-hmm. And he's wrestled, unlike Fandango. Okay, they have two guys. They have Fandango and Biggie Langston, who have not wrestled a match on TV before. And based on what we've seen of Langston, I'm not too excited. Fandango, I don't know. But having your debut against Jericho is a good idea, but not at WrestleMania.
No. I want to step in and say something here. Is that since we're talking about Fandango and Jericho, if you watch Raw 2 weeks ago when they did the Fandango angle where he laid out Jericho and got the mic, you can hear clearly
Jericho telling him to say nothing.
Say nothing. Mm-hmm. Say nothing. He's telling him not to say a word, just walk off.
And that thing did ruin it. It did ruin it.
He said, and of course he says his name. Go back and watch this past week. Jericho, Fandango hits a leg drop. Mm-hmm. Then he hits another one, which I'm not sure Jericho knew about. He probably did.
Yeah.
Either way, Jericho turns to the ref and says, tell him to leave. Tell him to get the fuck out of here. Tell him to leave. What does Fandango do? He ignores it, gets the mic, and says it again. Now, the whole plan was to build up this guy by working with a veteran, but he's not going to listen to the veteran, so fuck him, you know?
Exactly. And Jericho, you get Jericho for a few times a year. We know that. Mm-hmm. We know that whether you like it or not. He's a veteran. He's earned it, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. Much like Shawn Michaels.
Right. He can wrestle whenever he pleases, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But that's the thing. He's okay with putting over new talent, unlike some people who never wrestle and are not okay with putting people over. Yep. Won't mention them right now. Yep. We'll get to them later. But it doesn't mean jobbing to Fandango. If it's Mania and you're bringing him in for a few matches, you want at least something for Jericho. The fans want to see Jericho in a big match.
Yeah. But here's the thing, like you bring it up, like if you're going to be in a match with Chris Jericho or any guy who's like an older veteran who's trying to like teach you, and like especially when they're putting you in a match,
you listen to everything he says.
Every single
word. If this guy tells you to do a backflip, you do a fucking backflip.
So if he tells you to shut
your fucking mouth, you shut up.
Yes.
That's the thing. Why go above and beyond and ignore him?
Yeah.
If you want to be in this feud,
you want to be in WWE.
You listen to the veterans.
I'm already souring on Fandango just because he doesn't listen to a guy like Jericho.
Well, I hope in their match Jericho, welcomes him a little bit to WWE, makes him
give him a few stiff shots,
make him listen a little bit.
But they put him in this Fandango in this feud so he can get put over pretty nice and look good. You better listen to Chris Jericho. Jericho knows what he's doing. Jericho is probably one of the best wrestlers in the world because he just knows wrestling on such a psychological level, ring style level. He knows everything about wrestling.
And before we move on, which we need to, because you talk about, I just want to say one more thing. Miz and Barrett's not a match I want to see.
No.
But I want to see that probably more than Fandango.
Oh, I agree.
Absolutely. I agree. I mean, at least there's a title.
This is a match, and both these guys are they've been in for a while now, and they kind of wrestle Barrett's pretty good, Miz is decent, so.
Yeah, they're very decent.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about the big thing about Monday Night Raw, which was, of course, the CM Punk Undertaker thing that I don't think it was the most distasteful thing I've ever seen on WWE TV, but it's like they were bordering so well on like maybe going a little too far, maybe not. This just kind of like, okay, you went a little too overboard on this one, I think.
Yeah, I don't know, I just don't like the fact that this entire feud has been built on Paul Bearer's passing, which was unexpected, and it's just like what they have planned was supposedly worse than this.
Really?
So,
apparently.
No, apparently because they're using this.
Right, yeah.
So
it must be.
By their logic, it's whatever they had planned was worse.
Or they're just going with something that's hot in the news or whatever.
Whatever. It's terrible either way, in my opinion. I wasn't so mad about. I was more mad about like him coming out with the likeness of Paul Bearer than Urn in the
really
Ashes.
Pissed me off. That really pissed me off.
Because people are saying like Urn in the Ashes, like it's Paul. It's not. I don't think it's supposed to be Paul Bearer.
No, it's just.
Urn's always been there, so it's like whoever. Yeah. It's still kind of weird. He's pouring a dead guy all over him. And anyway, I had more problem with the likeness of Paul Bearer than anything in this segment. The rest, I just think there's so many millions of ways they could have built up this feud.
Do you want to talk first before I have like an idea of how I would have done the segment last night?
Okay. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll go.
I liked everything. I liked the Druids coming out.
I think you wanted to talk.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go for it. I got a lot to talk.
To me,
sorry.
The whole when Paul Heyman came out, I was like, "Ooh, this is a bit much." The whole pouring of the ashes. I know you didn't think it was that bad. To me, that was classless, tasteless, unimaginative, trash TV, garbage, horrible.
Yeah.
It was absolutely embarrassing. You can't think of anything better but to pour a dead man's ashes out.
I didn't say
you're going to say
it was good.
I mean, you
I'd say it was less offensive. I say it was less offensive than the whole thing. Would left a bad taste in my mouth for sure.
Okay. Now Justin did say, "Oh, I did."
I found the whole angle distasteful.
You didn't think that it was Paul Bearer, but to me, there was nobody else it could have been. I thought it was disgusting. From what I've heard, they told Paul Bearer's sons that what they were going to do, and they changed it. The whole thing was just terribly.
I find the entire angle distasteful.
Like you
for
said,
the record.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. From the beginning, it was poorly done. Yeah. But to top it off with this, to pour out a man's ashes on television, that's disgusting.
Regardless of who these ashes belong to, it's supposed to be a dead guy.
It was terrible.
That's morbid.
Tasteless.
What you don't know, it was actually Betty Crocker chocolate cake mix.
Either way.
Really, but implied.
Okay. Here's my opinion. I love the Druids coming out and like mocking the Undertaker.
I thought that was cool.
That was cool. I thought like, oh, this is neat. And then like, I thought if they had like some guy come out like dressed like CM Punk, like maybe like wearing like an Undertaker hood or whatever. I'm like, Undertaker, oh, that's
They didn't need to have anybody come out. They could have the Druids come out by themselves. Pretty much the same effect.
Yeah. But like, if like some guy had come out like an Undertaker hoodie or whatever, like that's like the Undertaker, like like oh okay, it's Taker attacks that guy and then Punk traps him. That'd have been fine. But to dress like Paul Bearer, like, come on, that's just really, that's messed up. And, and like, use his voice, too. Like, that was messed up. And then the ashes, I'm just like, you didn't need to do that. You didn't need to. It
didn't add anything to the storyline.
And the thing is, now going to WrestleMania, I'm confident Punk's gonna lose because, well, he can't win now because he's been insulting a dead man. He's been insulting this guy's mentor.
I didn't think he would win to begin with, but definitely not now.
But yeah, it's like this. They basically just like, oh, well, Undertaker has to win now to avenge his mentor. It's like, well, you basically just ruined the build of this match. You ruined the excitement. The match is still going to be great. I have no doubt about it.
The thing is, though, even if Paul Bearer's sons and family
doesn't matter whether they approve or not
approve, that was tasteless and disgusting, and it was no better than what they did with when Eddie Guerrero died. No better. Absolutely none. I would think it was disgusting and pointless.
Worst promotional tactic of the year right there.
Oh yeah, they won it.
Oh yeah,
most disgusting promotional
tactic.
There's
no question.
I was disgusted by this when it first happened. I know other people were waiting and seeing. I thought it was tasteless.
I'm not offended by it, but it's like this is just.
You can't do better.
Yeah,
you really can't think of anything better.
That's the argument to me. It's like no matter if you find it distasteful or tasteful, which I think most people are thinking it's distasteful, maybe. No matter what you think, I think most people would agree there are better ways to do this.
Exactly.
Oh,
much better ways. A million better ways to do this.
It's Undertaker and CM Punk.
That writes itself. You don't have to do anything.
But no.
It's just the streak, and Punk is anti-WWE. He wants to end the streak. That's it's meaningful.
Undertaker, trying to say like he's fighting for the WWE or something. There's so much better things you could have done.
That would have been like not terrible. Spectacular, but it would have been.
I didn't
not
mind
distasteful.
Like bringing up the Paul Bear thing was all right at the beginning. It's like okay, well, let's see what you can do with this now. Like the fact they made the whole thing about Paul Bear dying, totally unnecessary.
It shows the writers' lack of creativity. Completely.
All right, let's switch topics now. Cause anything else to add from Monday Night Raw?
No, I thought it was actually okay, other than... I mean, it went by okay for me. Like, it had a couple matches I liked, like Cesaro.
Yeah.
Cesaro and Jericho was pretty good. Ziggler and Bryan was good.
Yeah,
although that's the match I want to see at Mania. It's like, I'd rather have seen this than what's going to happen at Mania.
Probably,
yeah, that's all I have to say.
All right, well, switching gears now to ROH. We have one match to talk about that's been announced for the television taping on April 6th, which will be ACH taking on the television champion, whoever it may be, which I'm very happy to see ACH getting a big push from ROH.
And it's going to be either Taven, Hardy, or Cole, correct? From Supercard?
Yep. Okay.
So good. I like this.
Yes.
Putting ACH in this match, I think he's got a very bright future. And
ROH, he's big money, that guy.
He's got nothing but upside.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. People talk about him as the next great high flyer. I think he's already a great high flyer, and he's just a few months away from being.
I want to see him on the mic, though. You got put him on the mic. He's a pretty good promo guy, too. If you see his Shikara stuff, he's pretty good.
ACH for the win.
Yes. Let's talk about something that won't be on the card at Super Card of Honor, which is Charlie Haas versus Shelton Benjamin, because Charlie Haas decided to be a fucking asshole.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, I think it was Saturday night, right? In South Carolina, right?
It was in Carolina, yeah.
Okay, so as we mentioned before, they had the tragic passing of Reid Flair. Charlie Haas was offended that they didn't do a 10-bell salute before the show. Now, apparently, like in a lot of other times, ROH has done 10-bell salutes during intermission. They did one for Misawa in New York. They did one for
Misawa at a Detroit show.
Yes,
right, but that was before the show.
Yeah,
right.
They did one for Larry Sweeney at during intermission for one show, and they did one for Macho Man at like Super Card of Honor 6 or whatever. We don't know. This is just what I heard from people online. But Charlie Haas was really offended. Apparently, he was intoxicated backstage. He was causing a ruckus, and apparently, there's been tension between the two like ROH officials and Charlie Haas before this. So they released Charlie Haas and said, "Okay, you're fired. You're going to go out there. You're going to have the match, and then you're done." And so he goes out there, gets on the mic, and says he's retiring. Yeah. And he puts the guy over, which apparently that was his idea. Which, okay, nice move. So, Noah, what was the thing that Charlie Haas said during the match that you mentioned before?
Well, he did say a lot of things. He mentioned a lot of things.
What was the one that you really got offended by?
Oh, well... First, I will say he trashed Kevin Kelly, he trashed Delirious, but then during the match, he made it a point to say that he's going to beat the hepatitis out of Nigel McGuinness.
Oh,
that is disgusting and just disgraceful. Yeah. For one, I understand that you're angry, but that's too far. Too. And the thing is, I've heard
if it's a shoot too, he's just a dick. It's not even heel tactics.
And I've heard multiple reports that he was drunk at the autograph signing before the show.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
So he was intoxicated before the show, and then there was the altercation behind closed doors. He punched Grizzly Redwood, which is one of the most respected guys in the locker room.
Yeah.
And he's about this fucking tall, let me remind you.
He picks on the smallest guy in the ROH locker room.
Punches him.
How's his reputation for being a bully?
Yeah. He punches him, gets fired. And so... the whole going outside and cutting a promo was just to save face.
Yep.
Oh, I'm retiring. No, you're not retiring. You got fired, buddy, because you're an asshole.
Yeah.
And then he cried throughout his whole match with some nobody, and then tried to cut another promo.
And they cut his mic off.
And they didn't give him a mic, and then he was crying again.
Someone gave him one.
And then they cut it off.
Yeah.
And it's like, I understand you're upset and everything, but one, he took it too far, obviously.
Oh yeah, big time.
Why would you lay your hands on a guy like Grizzly, for one? I know that they've had
nothing to do with anything either.
No, they've had some tensions or whatever.
Tension in the past because Charlie's a bully.
Yeah.
But to go out and say something like that about Nigel, even I mean, that's just disgusting.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Of all people, Nigel McGuinness.
And
you're a real tough guy.
And ripping on Delirious' booking and exposing it in that way is inappropriate, also in my opinion, to a lesser degree, but still inappropriate.
Sorry that Delirious isn't like Jim Cornette's going to kiss your ass for you.
Right.
Let me say right now, Charlie Haas just proved what kind of an asshole he is, in my opinion, because ROH is the company that gave him a second chance at being a star with Shelton Benjamin. They put him over on their two of their biggest teams, the Kings of Wrestling and the Briscoes. And
two tag title reigns.
Yes. 2 title reigns. They only deserved 1, but they got 2. Yeah. Okay, they were booked like rock stars, but they couldn't keep up with the pacing. So, and the fact that they were keeping Charlie Haas around him, though, had nothing to do with him. They actually made him somewhat entertaining again.
A little
bit, yeah. But for Charlie Haas to go out there and just bury a company that gave him a second chance at having a chance at a career.
He's not going to go, especially after hearing the way he went out. People aren't going to want to work with him.
I would.
It's so unprofessional, especially in a place like ROH where the back stage is a curtain, so your whole crowd heard you arguing like an asshole.
The post I saw recounting this whole thing was partially done from backstage because he could hear it in the back.
Yeah, he could hear it. That's
which isn't
honestly, it was during
it's
the match.
It's been confirmed by other people who were in attendance. By the way, I'm just saying that the guy who posted the actual report overheard part of it. So.
Yeah,
but like That's the thing. It's like, I know you're in WWE and you think you're like bigger than ROH.
You were never anyone in the WWE.
ROH is not a bullshit promotion. They're not some little indie. It's like if you do something like that, we hear about people screwing over. We hear about Davey Richards screwing over some small indie in England
that I've never heard of.
Haas, you do this at ROH, people are gonna hear about it. Mm-hmm. People are gonna know your dick. I mean, obviously he wasn't thinking at all before he did this. I hope he wasn't. Otherwise, he's a bigger dick. But regardless, this is.
Enjoy
good riddance.
Yeah, enjoy your retirement, asshole. Really. Stay the fuck away from wrestling, please. We will not miss you.
No, not at all. Don't come back.
Don't call us. We won't call
you.
Don't
come anywhere that I want. Don't wrestle anywhere ever again.
Yeah. Good luck trying to go back to WWE. Like, see if they want you now after this bullshit you pulled.
Ridiculous.
And by the way, for anyone that's going to Supercard of Honor this weekend or the ROH TV tipping, please feel free to chant a "fuck Charlie Haas." Get that going, please.
Just do something.
Yeah, please make sure that Charlie Haas knows that we don't like him.
Right.
But Grizzly, I just want to say to Grizzly, we love you, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm glad that at least one motherfucker stood up to him, and I don't care if he's this big. You know, at least you had the balls to stick
Grizzly Redwood has bigger balls than Charlie Haas.
Probably
that's a fact right there, man.
Charlie Haas had no hair because he did steroids and man boobs. Never mind. Anyway, next topic.
Speaking of people retiring, we have a guy who actually is retiring for real, not being fired because of it. Homicide is retiring from professional wrestling. And he said this is going to be his last year as a professional wrestler. Mm-hmm. In an interview with, I think it was PWI Insider or something like that.
Okay,
Insider.
Yeah, it was on YouTube. He talked. He doesn't really like where the business is going right now, so he wants to get out of it. And actually, very interesting enough, he put over big TNA for giving him a chance to be a star or whatever.
Which is true. LAX was.
Yeah, LAX was one of the biggest tag teams in the world.
They should have never split them up.
Nope.
But
whatever.
Homicide also absolute legend in ROH.
Absolutely.
Still considered an icon. Whenever when he came back, he wasn't having the greatest matches, but people still ate it up because he's such. He helped build ROH a lot.
Oh, yeah.
2003, 2004, those years, especially. A lot of people call him the MVP of Ring of Honor in 2004.
Yeah,
I can see that.
And the thing about Homicide is if you've seen the LAX stuff, you know that he's great in that thug role.
Oh, he's great.
But before that, if you go back and look at the ROH stuff that he was in, the Rottweilers, that is a whole
Julius
different
Smith.
I mean, I remember when I first saw that, it really felt like a gang.
There's no restrictions.
Yes, it felt like, you're watching Gangland. Those fuckers came off the street and came out. And I mean, it was legit. It was very well done. Mm-hmm. I think that Homicide is underrated as a worker.
Absolutely,
yeah. He's put on so many great matches. LAX is one of my favorite tag teams that I can remember. Even though without Homicide, Hernandez is useless.
Yeah, I agree.
But LAX was so much fun. They had so many great matches.
Dude. And who doesn't love the Cop Killer and the...
Oh, that's the most brilliant. The Cop Killer double stomp combination. If you haven't seen that, you need to go out of your way to see it because it's disgusting.
ROH, Manhattan Mayhem, main event, Samoa Joe, Jay Lethal versus Loki, and Homicide. A great match, too.
Yes.
And I just want to throw out a few matches I want to recommend from ROH because they were... my favorite matches: Homicide versus Bryan Danielson, Final Battle 2006.
Six, yes.
Homicide versus Steve Corino, War of the Wire.
Definitely.
Those are the two. Any of his matches with Samoa Joe.
Any of them.
Yeah.
All had just brutal brawls.
Yeah.
You go back and watch any of those matches, and especially the Danielson match shows how good of a wrestler Homicide was.
Definitely.
And actually, all those matches, I believe, are available on the Homicide compilation DVD available at ROH.com.
Oh,
right
so buy that there.
Yeah, we just gave ROH a plug. Maybe they'll start paying us. Yeah. I meant to. I knew what I was doing.
Okay.
But also in that video with Homicide, he was joined by his buddy Eddie Kingston, who had a little bit of a discussion to talk about the recent Chikara taping we talked about in Tampa, I believe, where he missed the show, and he talked about why he missed the show, which was he apparently had a little too much to drink and punched a mirror and sliced a tendon in his arm or his hand, and so he had to get surgery and he missed the show. So I'm actually, it's disappointing that Kingston let that happen. Hopefully it doesn't happen again, but kudos to the guy for man up and just like, yeah, this is what happened, and not like just like bullshitting his way through it.
Right, but I watched that show and it did ruin the show.
Yeah.
It was a horrible... I'm sorry, I love Chikara. That show was terrible. I love most of their shows and I'm a huge fan of them.
Yeah.
That was the worst show I've seen. It hurt the main event so much. That's the thing. It's like he's the champion and it's like, I was all over Swagger for having a title shot and getting a DUI and he's, I'm kind of still over him for that. Mm-hmm. Kingston, it's just kind of disappointing. It's like, I think it's whether it's fair or not, you are held to a higher standard when you hold a belt. You're the top guy in the company. Just bad timing, everything. Match against Green Ants being delayed. We don't know if that's going to be...
No, it's going to be the next show after...
Right, but I'm saying that was supposed to be the match, and it's going to be later.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, it sounds like they want to take the title off, maybe take the title off Kingston pretty soon. I don't know.
We'll see.
Depends.
Okay.
We'll see.
I feel like when it comes to Kingston, I mean, if you're going to book him, there's a risk that comes with it. I mean, every promotion knows that
he's either going to be
there or he's not going to be there. And it's unfortunate, and we can sit here and trash him all we want. He's not going to care.
No,
you watch Eddie Kingston, he doesn't give a shit.
He shouldn't care.
He doesn't care if the fans shit all over him about it. The thing is, though, it's just not fair to the fans that showed up. Like, to us, we weren't there, so we don't really care. But the fact that the fans showed up, that paid to see him, and he no-showed, that's not okay.
Yeah,
he's got your belt, and...
The other problem, he's burned bridges with every other promotion except Chikara. That's why he's pretty much only in Chikara right now, and he's not a bit. People ask why isn't Kingston a bigger star elsewhere? It's because he's burned bridges with ROH, CZW.
He's unreliable.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I love the guy. I think he's a great worker.
He's overcome a lot of his demons too.
Yeah, so. I think he's a great seller. Obviously, he's probably one of the best sellers in business.
He'll sell like he blew his knee on every match.
You have to show up, and I don't blame Chikara to take the belt off him. I think it's time. I think he's
kind of run his course.
He's got to go back down to mid card because where else can you depend on him?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, and by the way, speaking of Homicide, I would like apparently they want to. Both of them have mentioned they want to like team up together, like do some other local shows or whatever. And I'd like to see a Homicide Eddie Kingston match sometime. I'm
sure that'd be fun.
Yeah. And Ring of Honor, please book Homicide for a show. Give him one last, ROH.
Yeah, they could do a farewell show.
Yeah, that would be great.
Do it in New York. Do that Final Battle or something like that, maybe.
Yeah. Do it wherever. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, it'll be huge.
Well, you gotta do it in New York.
Pay-per-view.
New York's not happy with anything. I'm talking to you, New York fans, because you're not satisfied with any damn thing. Put it anywhere. Put it anywhere. Anybody will be happy if they're an ROH fan.
He's from New York area, though, so.
Yeah.
He's from Brooklyn. Yeah.
Okay, next item.
Next item is TNA. Actually, we got some positives to talk about from TNA.
Wow.
I know, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yes.
Although I have a little bit confusing, okay? The next TNA gut check is tomorrow night on Thursday Night Impact. I don't remember who's the Mexican luchador that's in the match with.
I haven't heard.
Okay.
I don't know.
Apparently it's pretty good, but the main
it's not Sankara, I know that.
Yeah, the main attraction though is the fact that Adam Pearce is going to be a TNA gut check.
The Scrap Daddy.
Scrap Daddy Adam Pearce, yes. Here's my problem with it, though. Adam Pearce is a 17-year veteran. And he's getting a gut check.
He's not really a young up-and-comer.
Yeah.
But neither is Christian York.
Here's a little fun fact for you, though. Kurt Angle, he's been wrestling for less time than Adam Pearce has.
A lot less time.
Yeah. So, that's like, why is Adam Pearce getting a gut check? Why don't you just give him a contract?
Well, he's probably not going to win gut check. He's probably there to put over somebody. But either way, Adam Pearce just getting some TV time.
He deserves it.
I'd love to see Adam Pearce in TNA. I think he'd be great for TNA. I think he'd be able to bring something new to the table, I think
he'd be great on promos. I think as an undercard guy, he would build up the under to mid-card feuds. There's almost none.
You can put over like the lower card faces really well for them.
Him versus Aries in a promo would be awesome.
Him versus anybody.
He's very underrated on the mic.
Oh, he's
somebody
one of the best.
said, I think Colt Cabana might said Pearce. I think Punk did too. Said Pearce is like one of the best.
Actually, Jimmy Jacobs in a shoot interview said that that Pearce is like the best promo guy ever because he will constantly change
Pearce.
his promo. Yes.
I mean Jacobs and Carino.
Yes.
That shoot. Yeah.
Pearce should just take over on commentary for Taz and whatever
the other
is.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know his name
they say like Jimmy Jacobs and Zeke Green on that shoot.
I've been calling him Left Nut.
Left Nut. Good name.
Yeah, Pearce should have been a commentator in ROH. That'd have been awesome for him. Him and Nigel on commentary. That'd been awesome.
Him and Carino and Nigel.
Oh my God, man! Someone please get that done.
Book it. Book it now.
With Excalibur. 4-man booth.
Okay, you have to have wrestling. I just listen to it.
Well,
a picture of a ring.
Yeah. I want to mention Pearce has never. He's always been habitually underrated. Just because he's like in many ways like Steve Carino. He's like the old school type heel, and people just don't quite get that anymore.
Yeah.
It doesn't quite connect. But I think Carino is vastly underrated as well.
Absolutely.
And it's because his matches are just different. His promo styles are different, and I think that could totally work in the right setting. It's just people just haven't quite latched onto it in the way they should.
Yeah. Pearce, I think, was tailor made for WWE. You know, he was.
I think he'd go anywhere.
He'd fit very well.
Yeah.
TNA, sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, also want to talk about the upcoming April 11th TNA Impact, which is actually suiting up to be pretty good. They have 3 matches announced. By the way, this is mild spoilers for this week's Impact. But they have Homicide and Hernandez taking on Aries and Rude for the 20th time or whatever. Really don't care. Just don't take the belt
they
on
haven't
Aries.
had the match
That'll be
people
the main
want to
event.
see yet.
No, it won't.
Yeah. Everyone wants to see Kazarian and Daniels versus Rude and Aries.
They need to book that fast. Please do
they
it.
refuse to do that.
We're going to have James Storm versus AJ Styles, which they've had a match on Impact during the Bound for Glory series, which was really good. So I'm looking forward to that match quite a bit.
Good stuff.
That will not end in a clean finish.
I guarantee you.
I promise you.
They have another match for the Knockout style. I can't remember who was in it, and I don't really care. Oh no, Taryn Terrell and I think Gail.
Taryn.
And Gail Kim maybe.
Taryn's the ref, right?
Yeah, she's Drew McIntyre's ex-wife.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my!
She escaped that.
Yeah, she did apparently.
Drew, man, I don't care if she beat the shit out of you, Drew. You keep that girl on lockdown, man.
Lucky girl, man.
Yeah.
Get away from that useless hat.
If he has as many moves in the bedroom as he has in the ring, she
oh man,
screwed. He knows one move. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But you know it's true.
That's a burn.
You know it's true.
That's a burn. That's what happens, McIntyre, when you suck.
That may be the best line ever on the show.
Okay. What were we talking about? TNA matches.
TNA.
What?
The main event is going to be Bully Ray taking on Jeff Hardy in a Full Metal Mayhem match for the TNA World Title. That'll be insane, and I'm sure
That should be very good.
Both guys in their element there.
Oh, exactly.
That's all on the same show?
That's on Impact. That's free TV.
Are you sure? I thought that the tag title match was one week and then the other one was the next week.
It's all going to be in Corpus Christi, Texas.
Corpus Christi.
Crispy, yeah.
Crispy.
By the way, what?
Krispy Kreme, Texas.
That sounds like a place that would get a lot of people going there.
By the way, why do people not like that town? I saw a lot of people on Twitter hating that town.
Just because it's not like there's like brand.
Like people like.
Probably, yeah.
They said, why would you do it in Corpus? Like they said, it
people
wasn't
have to
big,
travel. Probably.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think it's an island. I think Corpus Christi. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Corpus Christi is an island at the bottom of Texas. It's way the fuck out there.
Okay.
You just don't want to go there.
Yeah, it's probably just a pain in the ass.
Okay.
Yeah.
Middle of bumfucking nowhere.
In the middle of the ocean.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry.
Man, Justin's hitting the jokes tonight,
He's
man.
on top of it.
Well, let's get to another big joke, which is Extreme Rising.
Oh, that's funnier than any joke.
Fucking got him. Yeah, Extreme Rising. The Shane Douglas.
This
This is just embarrassing.
The Shane
to
Douglas
talk about.
run ECW-esque promotion. How many shows did they have for WrestleMania weekend planned?
3.
They
How many are they
canceled
doing?
all of them.
All 3 have been canceled.
Due to low ticket sales.
Yes, because they cancel tickets to their crappy products.
Yes. So
Shane Douglas, please, it's over.
Here's the
please.
thing, though. What's unbelievable to me is that Stevie Richards doesn't sell tickets as a champion? Am I crazy? Seriously.
Did you see the matches they had played? Every match was like some guy who I haven't seen in a match in like 20 years.
Yes.
Well, the thing is, though, Matt Hardy was already booked somewhere else, so they lost a lot of their star power.
I know that the main event for one of their shows was
Like Tommy
Stevie
Dreamer's
Richards
one of their
versus
main
Raven.
guys. Which Dreamer, I'm sorry, he was huge in ECW, but since then,
Yeah.
if he's a star for your promotion,
That's embarrassing.
yeah, a little bit. I like Tommy, but
Yeah.
I mean, I respect the guy, but he is not leading up.
I don't want to see like Raven wrestle. I don't want to see
2013,
Sabu wrestle anymore. These guys have been broken down for like 10 years.
If you wanted to watch Sabu, we watched Botchamania.
Basically.
Yeah,
exactly.
But let's talk about how did Steve Richards reply to this? The champion of Extreme Rising, by the way, he decided like, okay, hey, I'm going to defend the title in a game of Madden.
It was a joke, by the way, but they took it seriously.
Danny Doring or whatever said
him and Danny Doring.
Yeah, had like his old ECW tag titles, like, I'll put up this belt against your belt, and and Steve Richards replied, oh great, 2 defunct promotions versus another defunct promotion, and so Extreme Rising didn't call him, didn't do anything like that. They emailed him and requested that he send the belt back.
Overseas, he was overseas.
Because they believed that he was legitimately going to put his title up in a Twitter Madden battle.
But that would be better than watching the actual show.
Yeah.
That's the punchline right there.
Yes.
Everyone says, I would rather pay for that than watching this wrestling show.
I was going to watch it.
Absolutely, I would have watched
I love video games. I'd watch that. Can we get like
God.
Can we get Steve Corino on commentary for that one?
I mean, Extreme Rising is the running joke of professional wrestling, for sure.
Congratulations, TNA. You've been promoted from not the running joke to slightly above the running joke.
TNA, you better pray to the Lord that
this
company doesn't go under.
No, Shane Douglas. He'll.
But in all seriousness,
okay,
this is embarrassing.
Absolutely.
I mean.
First,
you're canceling 3 shows on the hottest wrestling weekend of the year. You can't sell tickets for WrestleMania weekend.
You can't even combine all the shows and just have
6
one.
promotions that have sold plenty of tickets.
And they don't have this. The thing is, these guys, they bring them in because they have the thing is, for so long, guys like Raven and Dreamer, guys like that, they go anywhere and they'll be sell some tickets because the old ECW fans are super into it. Not anymore. You know, when the old ECW fans are turning away from you, something is wrong because that's all they like.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, some from last year on to some of the indies, ROH,
CZW,
like that. But a lot of the old ECW fans only come out for these guys because these are their guys. And when they start turning on you, these guys are so loyal. You got a problem.
Yeah, you're putting out a terrible product.
Oh yeah.
And Douglas. And the 4 other guys that are in charge.
Douglas, you were never even good to begin with. I'm sorry. You sucked balls and were overrated. And you were one of my least favorite wrestlers ever, and you suck.
And you still owe the fans from your first show a refund because that show was an embarrassment.
Franchise my balls.
God. If we could, really.
I'm sorry. I fucking hate Shane.
I wish we could just have a full shoot promo on Shane Douglas.
I could. I would be game for that.
Franchise my balls. I want this as a t-shirt.
Seriously, Shane Douglas, he's made a joke of himself, of the entire promotion. Showed up on Raw in a mask.
Oh my God!
I got kicked out, and they were super afraid of me because I was ECW guy. And it's you are pathetic.
The kick jacks, you're a fucking idiot.
Right. You got kicked out of WWE because you had a terrible gimmick and
you couldn't wrestle as well as you thought you could, and apparently people thought he could. He was not that good.
No. Yeah, JR and a lot of other people talked really highly about him.
Dean Douglas, that was great.
Please,
great WWE.
Go away and never come back.
Go back to working at Walmart.
I can't wait till the Shane Douglas book comes out.
Oh my God.
So I can burn it and not read it?
Shane Douglas, the biggest ass face in wrestling. I think that's the title, I believe.
Oh my God.
This is the best burial.
It's just a picture of an ass with Shane Douglas's body.
No, man.
Alright, I think we're done burying Shane Douglas for now.
That's not burying for one man, I think.
We're going to get so many dislikes just because of Shane Douglas fans.
Fuck that. I don't want
6 minutes of
people who want to watch Shane Douglas. Yeah.
And fuck you, Charlie Haas as well.
Right.
Yeah,
okay. Let's end on something very, very positive.
Oh, I gotta get my
and actually kind of sad too, which is Kenta Kobashi is retiring, and his retirement match has been announced. I now pass it over to the Puro expert of Strong Style Studios.
Expert.
Sorry, Noah.
Yeah, you better be.
Sorry.
Justin, take it away.
Alright, so we got Kenta Kobashi's retirement match. Little background. He was fired from Noah.
We talked about this.
A lot of guys left, so it's kind of under bad circumstances. This is taking place in All Japan, May 11th, retirement match. Luckily, they're bringing a lot of guys together from different promotions. This is a very good thing, in my opinion. We got a 4-on-4 tag. We have Kenta Kobashi, the Great Muta / KG, he is as himself, I believe, Keiji Muto, Jun Akiyama, and Kensuke Sasaki. That is a dream team of awesome.
I'll tell you what.
Mark-out team right there. But if that wasn't enough, they're facing the team of Kenta, Go Shiozaki, Yoshinobu, I don't quite know how to pronounce the name, Kanemaru, and Maybach Taniguchi. This is on May 11th. To me, this is great because Kobashi's last match, he's kind of limited. You put him in there with all these legends who he came up facing, having amazing matches with a lot of these guys.
Beat the hell out of a lot of them.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the old school team against like the younger team.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah, Kenta was his student. If you may or may not know that, Kenta was Kenta Kobashi's student. That's why he calls himself Kenta in all caps, because it's confusing as it is.
Wow, really? Had no idea.
Yeah. Anyway, I mark for like all the guys in this match.
Yeah.
Since some of these guys are limited, 4-on-4 tag is to be great. This is like, I'm not even gonna care like really how good the match is. I just want to see all these guys have a good send off for Kobashi, who is my favorite. I will go out and say my favorite Japanese wrestler of all time.
Probably
the greatest,
best, greatest.
What? Maybe the greatest in-ring performer I've ever seen.
Yes, amazing.
Yeah, amazing. This last match is gonna be so. I'm holding it back right now when I watch the match. I might cry. Kenta Kobashi means that much to me.
It's sad.
I prefer this. I'm not a big Puro fan. I've only started watching it recently. I know a lot of those names, so that's a pretty good thing. If me, a guy who knows almost nothing about pure wrestling, knows some of the guys in this match and is excited to see this.
All these guys are huge names.
Who doesn't know Muda?
And this is going to be so exciting. I feel like all the older guys are obviously going to get their shit in. They're all going to get their stuff in. Mm-hmm. The younger guys are going to look good because they're in there with the legends. With the legends. And I feel like this is going to be one of those matches where it's just the crowd is on the edge of their seat just waiting for Kenta to get that tag. Like, I don't think Kobashi's going to get that tag till late in the match, and he's going to come in, and people are just going to go like crazy.
He builds up to his chops like in his more recent matches. He'll miss a few in the crowd like, oh!
Yes.
And once he hits the chop, they're like, yeah!
Exactly. I think this is going to be great. Even it's going to be very nostalgic feeling, but it's still going to be a very good match.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I feel like some matches are either one or the other, great match or nostalgic. I think this is going to be a combination of the two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because some of these guys are... Akiyama is still championship caliber. Muta is still championship caliber. Kenta is the champion of Noah right now.
Goshi Izaki, sorry.
Yeah, so you got some guys who are still putting on amazing matches all the time. I'm looking forward to this I'm looking forward to how, nostalgic the match is going to be. I'm not looking forward to Kobashi retiring, but if you're going to send him out,
this is
good one.
Yep, absolutely.
And if you can't get excited for a Kenta Kobashi match, I don't know what to tell you, bro. That is going to be awesome.
If anyone does not know...
Or Muda, everyone knows Muda, right? Even in America, everyone knows Muda.
If you don't know who Kenta Kobashi is, do yourself a favor, go out and watch...
You are missing out on the best shit ever.
Go watch his match with Samoa Joe from ROH.
Watch matches with Nasawa.
It's an amazing match.
Matches with Akiyama, matches with... Toshiaki Kawada.
Oh yeah, a lot of those matches you can find on YouTube.
Just go look at Dave Metzer's 5-star ratings. And look at the matches.
Kawashi's on all of the matches.
Yes,
from all of them,
most of them. All right. Anything else to add?
No, but watch this match May 11th.
Yes, we will
seek it out after May 11th.
We'll definitely be talking about that when it finally airs.
So
all right.
Actually, I want to.
Oh, go ahead.
I hope I'm not.
No, go ahead.
I did want to add one thing because there was a match that I saw recently that was awesome.
Oh yeah, you mentioned this. Yeah.
Was Tanaka versus Ishii.
Yeah, I watched that.
That is my number 3 or 4 match.
It's in my top 5. It's
definitely in my top 5.
Fave 5.
Awesome match. Such a great match. And the thing is, Tanaka's an older gentleman. You wouldn't expect it from these two.
You mean Taka Michinoku, right? No. No. I'm sorry, Tanaka.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Tanaka versus Ishii.
I just watched the match and I said it was awesome.
It's a great match. I implore you to all go out and watch it. Two guys that you wouldn't expect to put on this caliber of a match. But I thought it was worth mentioning.
Okay, go ahead.
So
it's in New Japan, February something.
What's the match? What's the match I sent you that was from LV on Twitter?
It was a tag match and I was playing as Kaz Hayashi. Don't remember everyone in it, but it's good.
Okay, well, I'm trying to bring that, but whatever. All right, guys, let's wrap it up for this episode of Running the Ropes. Thank you very much. Make sure you guys stay tuned for our WrestleMania weekend preview video, which is going to be
lots of stuff.
It's going to be a long one, but it's going to be a great one. And take care, subscribe, like, comment, do all that stuff, and take care. Bye.